All right, welcome to Rasa. We're here today with Anthony and Eric McGriff. They're students at Syracuse University. They play the violin and cello. You'll see them later on in the episode. And we're going to talk to them about their work at the school and their music. Just so for everybody, Eric and Anthony.
How you doing?
So am I driving? Are we going to my car? Where are we going?
No, we don't have one. We don't have one.
Okay, we're going to So, what do you guys do there? Tell me about
We've been there since our freshman year of college. Back when it was called the AFC Center. So basically, it was a central location on campus for education, promotion, and advocacy for students who have issues with sexual relationship violence, stuff like that. And it's kind of something we were doing in high school. And one of those mandatory forms they make you do when you're here as a freshman. I forgot what it was called.
Everyday Heroes.
Everyday Heroes. They told us about this group called the Men's Issue. And basically, their mission statement is to redefine masculinity and put an end to sexual and domestic violence, one man at a time. In simpler terms, we put a different twist on masculinity. A lot of people like to ask the question, are you man enough? Are you going to be a man up, this and stuff? But that's not the question you should be asking. The question, we think you should be asking is, what kind of man are you? How would a 12-year-old boy feel if his sports coach said he played like a girl?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Saying man up, you know? And then when a guy doesn't want to do something, referring to him as a female body part, like a pussy or a vagina.
Basically, we work with changing masculinity and ending relationship violence.
It's kind of like, we have this thing, we talk about the pyramid of violence, and at the top of that pyramid is physical violence, oppression.
Right.
And at the bottom of the pyramid, the foundation for that stuff are our attitudes and our beliefs. You know, so yeah, you can say, oh, violence is bad, we want to put all these offenders in jail, this and that. But at the end of the day, if you're not changing the culture that created those people, you're doing a disservice. You know, the same culture that creates men that beats women also creates men who are violent towards men.
So how do you guys do you guys connect this to what you do musically?
People have this idea of what a cello or a violin should sound like, you know? So our music kind of serves as a constant reminder, you can't judge a book by its cover. That same concept applies to survivors. You don't know what someone goes through. So for you to look at someone, a woman wearing a skirt, a Muslim person, even a black person, you don't know what they go through. You don't know their story, so you can't stereotype somebody. You can't stigmatize somebody. It's the same thing with our music, and I think that's my favorite way to connect our music to what we do.
You know, people would see our instruments and think one thing, then they'd hear it. It's like, oh wow, that's cool, and it sort of goes with our sort of changing masculinity, not being the stereotypical man. You know?
I feel like I already know in my head what everybody's anticipating. You know, they're anticipating some pachelbel, and it's like, hey, we're gonna show you that these instruments can stand the test of time. You know, it's not the instrument that makes the musician; it's the musician.
For us, I know I've got it when I see someone tapping their foot. So whether it's a wedding or a reception or a cocktail hour or whatever, I, will play all out, and then once I see that foot tapping, I'm like, okay, we've got him. It's like our friends will say, we love it when we see you guys play, and you guys just look at each other, and nod yes or no, lean forward, lean back, and you know what each other's gonna do, you know what's coming next, you know how to articulate, the next part of the music. So whenever we play, it's usually a thing of glances or facial expressions, and
just like a nod up and down, and somehow we know what that nod means, you know. You'll see me look over to him, and I'll just shake my head yes, and He just knows. Even when we used to play in like full orchestras, Eric and I would look at each other, you know, just because it was natural to look at each other for signs and not so much the conductor.
All right, are we here?
Yeah.
It's the place? All right.
Yeah, this is where it all started. We meet here every Friday for like a peer mentoring thing. So part of what we do, like I said, is education. So
It's right down here.
yeah, all right.
Here's one of the rooms that we met in at the beginning of the year.
This
But
is where we
then,
have our meetings.
well, we used to, but then we did an education training and we got more peers, so the room is too small for us.
We were involved with It's On Us. So when
Yeah.
Joe Biden came,
Right.
yeah, you would see all of the peer educators were up there
This
behind
table.
him. We actually got to go meet him afterwards.
Oh, wonderful.
Because we work on the campaign. But yeah, it's a lot of good stuff. Mostly just talking about being open, being honest with yourself, and being able to like self-reflect. You know, nobody's perfect,
Yeah.
but you have to demonstrate a willingness to work on yourself.
And it's cool because it's like music sort of, the way that we were taught, you know, was to be open, was to explore, was to try new things, was to listen to new things, and that's what we do here as well. And, you know, we found our own voice, you know, in our advocacy, but even in our music, we were given the freedom to explore and question and judge and interpret, so that we were able to sort of find our own musical voice.
Yeah.
Because
I don't think it's any coincidence that you guys played music and then ended up doing this kind of thing, because maybe it made you more open to doing.
Yeah,
It's crazy, man.
Even like being like men, you know, playing the violin and cello. Growing up in our school, like these were things that girls excelled at, and you didn't really see many, you know, men leading.
Yeah,
you didn't. And you know, growing up, you know, they're soft. They play the violin. You play like, you know. And then we just whip out, you know, some Usher, some Michael Jackson, some Beyonce on our instruments. Like, oh snap, you know. It's crazy. Like, we do this work with sexual assault and, you know, healthy relationships and everything, but it's so intersectional. It goes into all of this stuff. All of this work
identities.
like sort of helps me with making these connections across, you know, the social justice, the, you know, different dimensions of identity. And you wouldn't think that. People think, oh, this is the place we come and they talk about women's rights. Like, it's so much more than that.
Right.
And like the stuff we read and the stuff we do is like, you know, like you're fool if you think that any one form of oppression exists by itself, distinctly unconnected from anything.
Everybody is a product of their environment, undoubtedly. Everybody's a product of their environment. But whether it's going to be for the good or the worse is up to you, you know? And same with our music.
You know, some people grow up in a place where you refer to women as, you know,
Right.
bitch, you know, you talk about, and so like we can't hold the environment you were brought up in against you, but we can work together to raise a consciousness. You know, maybe you say, well, maybe these things are unhealthy, maybe these are more healthy behaviors and stuff. So this is a really great space to be in. There are tears, there's happiness, there's warmth, and, you know, just we feed off each other in this space. So it's really great.
Success to you guys. I can't wait until everybody gets to hear you guys on the show. It's going to be awesome. Thank you so much for being
No
on.
problem.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having us, bro.
Yeah. All right. Check them out in the studio on Rasa.